Don Hutchison joins us now. Julien Laurens still with us as well. So, Don, they have to win this one. The coach has said it himself.
Well, they do. I'm not sure they do. I don't see where the fighting spirit is. I listened to Ten Hag's interview over the last 48 hours, and he talked about standards, he talked about the culture, he talked about intensity. He kept saying the words fighting spirit a lot. I don't see that from his team. I didn't see it against Newcastle. And that was Newcastle reserves, by the way, that walked all over them midweek. And he's also talked about that he can't play the Ajax way with his Man United players, which is a lot of different messages to try and throw out there. Because when you look at Man United's midfield and you look at the way Ajax have played over the last, forever in their DNA, it's all about control and possession. It's all about controlling teams. Well, he's got players on his books like Christian Eriksen, like Bruno, like Casemiro, like Mason Mount, like Amrabat, who are all technically very, very good. The problem is when Man United turn the ball over, they're very slow and they haven't got intensity or the willing to work back. So there's a lot of words and a lot of mixed messages. He looked like a manager that's really struggling to me in the interview. You can tell that he wants to fight back because that's his character. I don't see the players having that character.
What stood out to you from what he had to say there? Because there was a lot.
Well, plenty of it. And when he goes through, let's not call it excuses, let's call it reasons as to why they're struggling and why they're being inconsistent and so on and so forth. And he follows that up with saying, but you know, I'm not going to give you excuses, but I'm giving you excuses. I'm not going to give you reasons, but I am giving you reasons. He talks about a team whose standard is a fight back against Brentford. If that's the standard for Manchester United, then the game is gone. We showed a fight back against Brentford, and if we weren't together, we wouldn't be able to do that. If that's the standard, then Erik Ten Hag, the game is gone. That cannot be the standard for Manchester United, that you come back against Brentford or that you fight back against Brentford. He also mentioned something about a fighting spirit and that this is a strong dressing room. I would question that based on what we see on the field. What we're seeing on the field is a locker room that is actually fractured, not one that is together. Because if this group was together, then you would see that fight display itself out on the field. And so if I'm looking for anything from Manchester United tomorrow is fight first. I don't care about tactics. I don't care about passing of the ball. I don't care about possession of the ball. Let me see the fight first. And then from then on, you build onto other things. But you have to be able to build whatever this comeback is going to be for Manchester United on personality, on character, on fight first, and then we can concern ourselves with playing the game.
Are you expecting to see this kind of response, Jules? Some fight from them in this game against Fulham?
Well, I mean, that would be one of the indications, really, one of the things that we'll be looking at for sure, because he was very flat against Newcastle, that B team or even C team from Newcastle, as Don was mentioning. It'd been flat, to be fair, for most of the season. And yeah, at times they can play a bit better and they're there, and sometimes they find ways to win games when they haven't been the better team, and we've seen that very, very often against Burnley, against Sheffield United, against Brentford. Those are not good teams. I mean, Brentford, I'd be better than the other two, but against Copenhagen in the Champions League, that was a terrible performance at Old Trafford from that team. And Ten Hag is right in the sense that defensively, especially, all the injuries, all the players missing has been an issue. Okay, we give him that. For the rest, I mean, it's not good enough. He knows it. He knows he's under pressure. Even if his position is safe right now, there's no talk at all at the club, at the top of the club, about sacking him, looking for a replacement, things like that. Not yet. But we know that Sir Jim Ratcliffe at some point is going to take over the sporting side of the club, at the same time as buying 25% of the shares. For now, Ratcliffe is a fan of Ten Hag, or so his team is saying, but that might not last for long. And Ratcliffe is a much bigger United fan than all the Glazers family put together, by the way. And he would certainly not being happy with the way they are playing if that continues, far more than the Glazers have been in the last 18 months. So I think Ten Hag knows he's under pressure. And under pressure, the only way for him to fight back is to transmit that to his players. Will they listen? I think Ten Hag knows that there's more and more players in that dressing room who are right now not on the same page as him.
Well, let's take a look at the predictions that have come up for this clash with Manchester United, looking for a response against Fulham. Draws from all of you guys. I have a little bit of confidence that it can't get any worse for them, all right?
Wait a second. Julian, he's got a draw 3-1.
He did pick a draw, actually. That's just a graphic mistake, okay?
All right, so it's not Julian's mistake.
But is that considered a response then, Don, a draw?
No, because I think he's got 2 jobs to save his skin, I think he's got to beat Fulham and he's got to beat Luton. If he doesn't take 6 points from the 2 games, then I think Ten Hag's in trouble. I think what a draw would probably do would probably stop the rot. A 12:30 kick-off away from home is not ideal off the back of the Newcastle game, and as Jules said, how many times they've won games where they haven't played great. So, listen, they'd want to win the game because they're Man United, but how do you make a case for them? They don't work hard when they haven't got the ball. It's a team that you're seeing is so low on confidence. What's the game plan from the manager? How does he set up a team to try and fight and fight and fight, but at the same time, it's not all about fight. You've got to have a level of tactics and a level of ability. And you're looking at a Man United side now that are well below their best. They are miles off it. And every other week, this is on the players. Every other week, this is on Ten Hag. The game tomorrow is monumental for Erik Ten Hag. Whatever happens in the game, tactics, fight, whatever, he's got to make sure his team, come out on the right side of the result. They have to win this game. Otherwise, going into the Luton game at home, that could be the end. So tomorrow, forget Luton. It's all about Fulham away, and you've got to make sure you get the 3 points. If it's ugly, it's ugly. But whatever you've got to do, make sure you win.